Hi everybody, this is Hande. I just did a little video talking about the different currency symbols, and for me that brought to mind this little number. This is an old Finnish 10-mark note, which was put into circulation in the late 1980s and taken out of circulation pretty soon afterwards. Now, so as you know, Finland, like pretty much all EU member countries, uses the euro as its currency, and as a result, Finland no longer uses its own currency, which used to be the Finnish mark. And don't get me wrong, while I do think us switching over to a general currency used across multiple countries was generally a good thing, the one thing that I do miss about old Finnish currency is that Finnish currency was used to commemorate important Finnish individuals. So as a fun follow-up to that currency science video, I decided that I wanted to look at the last printed set of Finnish mark bills and talk a little bit about the guys that were on the front end of it. So firstly, the old tenor that the Finnish mark used to have features the face of a famous Finnish runner, Paavo Nurmi, who won a lot of fame in the early 20th century and was also the guy who lit the Olympic flame when Finland hosted the Olympic Games back in the 50s. Like I said, the Nurmi tenor was actually originally commissioned in 1987, but it was pulled from circulation at the start of the 90s because the tenor ended up turned into a coin instead. Our old 20-mark bills, which I remember seeing a lot of, features the face of author Väinö Linna. Väinö Linna is the guy who wrote The Unknown Soldier, the most famous Finnish war novel, which of course is the basis of not just one, but 3 Finnish war movies. So yes, I do happen to own all 3 movie versions of The Unknown Soldier, and also the book version. This one is an English translation. You can see a picture of a slightly younger Väinö Linna. The Finnish 50-mark bill features famed Finnish architect and designer Alvar Aalto, who also has a university named after him. I gotta say, maybe the least exciting of the individuals on this list. Personally, I've just never been a big fan of Aalto's designs. The Finnish 100-mark bill, we have a picture of famed composer Jean Sibelius, although I have to point out the picture on the 100-mark bill is of Sibelius in his youth. When he got older, he actually looked quite a bit different. Sibelius's most famous work, of course, is the piece Finlandia, which plays on the soundtrack of the 1955 version of The Unknown Soldier, and also on the soundtrack of a 90s action film by a Finnish film director, Die Hard 2, made by Rennie Harlin. Now, people know that I like classical music, and I have to say Finlandia is probably Sibelius's best piece. Most of his stuff is a little too dire for my taste. I mean, I wouldn't call Sibelius bad, but I've always been more of a Beethoven guy myself. On the Finnish 500-mark bill, we have Elias Lönnrot. Lönnrot was an author, and specifically he was specialized in poems of the oral traditions, which during his lifetime he compiled into Kalevala, which is the Finnish national epic. Now I should point out that there are actually 2 editions of Kalevala that Lönnrot came out during his lifetime, as well as lesser-known collections of oral poems. One of the important things to remember about Kalevala is that it's not really a continuous storyline or anything like that. Lönnrot just collected all the poems he could find and then tried to roughly organize them into something that would resemble some kind of a storyline. Most importantly, the 2nd edition, which this English translation is also based on, the final poem of which Lönnrot actually wrote himself in order to give the story some kind of a finale. And just like with Sibelius, they actually used a picture of Lönnrot in his youth. When he got older, he looked quite a bit more different. And lastly, the most valuable of the Finnish mark bills is the 1000-mark bill, which features Anders Chydenius. Now, I have to confess my ignorance. I had to actually look up who the hell Anders Chydenius is. Apparently, he was a very big figure when Finland was still under Swedish rule. He was a big promoter of liberalism during a time when Finland was very much a monarchy under the Swedish throne. He has a high place in the history of Finnish mercantilism. And he was also one of the early proponents of democracy as a concept. And due to those 2 criteria is probably the reason why he was given the highest honor. It almost feels a little weird to me that in this last set of Finnish mark bills there weren't even any presidents. Though to be fair, they had a long good run in older Finnish money. So that was this video. I'm Hande, and see you on the next one.